Hi, this is Sanjay Parihar. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm a technologist. As we consistently spoke about that, we will be bringing a lot of notable faces. So here we are, very, very notable face, Mr. Riaz Ahmed, founder and managing director of Abad Group of Hotels. Welcome to our show, sir.
Thank you.
And Mr. Gibran Asif, director of Abad Group of Hotel. Hello, Mr. Gibran.
Thank you for inviting us.
Welcome to our show, to both of you. And along with that, Mr. Rohit is joining in the conversation. Hello, Mr. Rohit.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. And so now we talk about Abad Hotels, right? When I start looking into the profile and Mr. Riaz, from export business to hospitality for more than 3 decades, and one of the founding members to bring Kerala into World Tourism Map. Now, reaching to this point requires a lot of consistent effort, a lot of passionate effort, a lot of energy. Our audience would love to hear directly from you how you made it possible.
Okay. See, ours is a traditional business family. We known as Abad Group. So traditionally in 1931, my grandfather started Abad Fisheries. It is known in a different name, but that's the company which he founded. And we were exporting dried prawns to Burma, Ceylon. That's the pre-independence time. After that, we forayed into canned seafood, block frozen seafood, and we were exporting to USA, Canada, Europe, Japan, all these places. Finally, now the new technology is IQF, that's individually quick frozen, each piece is individual. And that we are mainly exporting to, processing in India, but exporting to Europe and China. So these are the main, and we have factories all over Kerala in the main fishing centers as well as in the East Coast, in Vizag and in Chennai. This is the background of our business. But in 1982, we started a hotel in Cochin called Hotel Abad. That was the first hotel we established. Mainly not as a very planned one, but because there was a dearth of hospitality ventures in Cochin, where our factory and all those were situated. So there was no proper accommodation or a good restaurant there. So we thought we'll start one. So that's how we got into this business. So anyway, it was connected with food. So it was not that difficult. But then in 1987, as we got more experienced, we established another hotel in the mainland, that is in Ernakulam. That's called Abad Plaza. And then we expanded Abad Plaza. And another 5 years, we gained, experience is the basic thing. We had our hand in the business. So we thought we'll go to Munnar, Tekadi, Kumaragam, all these places where,
beautiful places.
Beautiful places. So it's easy. It was already marketed places and people have a lot of things to see there. So we started in all the places. So that's how we came into the hotel. Now we have properties, 6 properties in Cochin, then in Munnar, Tekadi, Kumaragam, Marari Beach, Kovalam Beach, all these places. And this journey is not that easy. When we, from outside, it looks very simple, So, but we had to face a lot of features. But it was the persistence and the determination that took us forward and also to overcome these obstacles. So, what I would like to tell the entrepreneurs who are coming in, that we always see success from the outside, It's very glamorous to see success from outside.
Right.
There's no substitute to hard work, and people don't see the hard work that is put in and the long hours that we put in, or anything for that matter, not only for hotel business, for anything. Even in your line, you'll have to put in a lot of hard work, but people won't see it. People only see you talking, That's different. So that's what I have to tell people over there.
Great. So there's no substitution for hard work, and people don't see the blood behind the success, right?
That's right.
The hard sweat and hard blood, right? I mean, blood and
nothing comes easy. Nothing comes easy.
Nothing comes easy. Nothing. It's just a passionate effort, right? Now, along with that, I have one very interesting question, and it is not so common. I in this show, I have not asked this question to many people. Now, you're a man of ethics, right? And the reason why I say that, because in most of the occasions, you have taken decision of like not serving liquor in the hotel, right? And this is very odd, right? What is the mantra behind that success, and how it was a little different, right? Different approach. Tell us more about it.
You see, as a matter of policy, we do not sell liquor in any of our properties.
Mm-hmm.
We could manage our business successfully because we have been emphasizing on keeping consistency in food
Mm-hmm.
and our services. Thing is, we also constantly upgrade our properties. We do our renovations whenever needed. So it's not that when you run a hotel,
Mm-hmm.
the income you get, most of it goes into flowing it back into keeping the property fresh and
reinvestment.
so a lot of money is flowed back
Mm-hmm.
into the properties, and this has helped us to maintain and develop our client base,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one thing. Second thing is, we have properties all over Kerala, so the travel agents, tour operators, or even the customers who come to us directly, they get a feel that they can be taken care of everywhere. It's easy for them to make a booking and see places, or we take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some plus points. Maybe not having liquor is a handicap, but then people manage.
Right. And maybe very preferred for some people. I mean, it's a sector of the group.
There are some family groups. They don't mind not having liquor.
Right.
But some people may be having it privately in their rooms. That we don't know what happens.
Right.
But in public areas and other places, we don't say.
Absolutely. Wow. It's a surprise, inspiring as well, Rohit, right? So the consistently 14 hotels now under Abbott brand, and the whole world is recovering from COVID-19, right? So the hygiene is the main thing. How hygiene is going to impact everything. What is your plan for post COVID-19 as such, Mr. Gibran?
So as I was telling you, the top priority for any guest would be safety, his health, hygiene, and trust in his accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
We had received guidelines from the Ministry of Health Affairs previously, then from the central government tourism department, recently from the state government also,
Mm-hmm.
and from the Kerala tourism department, which were more or less the same.
Mm-hmm.
And taking all these detailed guidelines, we had enhanced standard operating procedures.
Mm-hmm.
Few of the points, if you say, we had plans to implement,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, an online check-in facility. So this we had plans to at least implement it in our business hotels for an express
Okay.
check-in for our guests,
Mm-hmm.
which has now been implemented because it is mandatory, more or less mandatory. One is to have details about the guest prior to his check-in. Secondly, to make it as contactless as possible. A digital food menu was also something which we were thinking about doing it before, but now it is more or less good, or it is a kind of mandatory thing where you can give all the details through your mobile. So that both these points have been implemented by us now. The other things are like, for example, a guest checks in. Now you need to, if you're using your own vehicle, if you're using the hotel vehicle, the vehicle has to be sanitized before, after the guest checks out. The driver has to follow all the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
The luggage has to be disinfected. Temperature checks, recordings have to be maintained. Sanitizing machines have to be. High-risk touch points also, which has been identified. So
Mm-hmm.
that's mainly with the hotels and resorts, where in the common areas it must be the hand doors. The rooms, it can be the remote controls, the switches, and things like that. So mostly all the hotels have identified these high-risk touch points, and these areas also been sanitized on a regular basis using the uronic sanitizing machines. So we are also trying to make the customers, our clients, also aware of the works, the sanitization works which we have been doing. Even in our restaurants, all our restaurants have become 50% of the capacity. So, for example, our 80-seater restaurant has become a 40-seater restaurant, considering the social distancing norms. Our glassware, cutlery, and the seating all are sanitized after each and every guest use. The banquet SOPs are also now in place. So all these things have to be looked into when we do these, when we set these guidelines. Most importantly is the training. So a lot of training, we have been having training for the past many weeks before we opened on the 9th of June this month to receive our guests. I think all our staff are now fully equipped and geared to receive guests with these special standard operating procedures in place.
Wow. I mean, so a lot of procedures, process, trainings, technology, and it's kind of combination of everything is you're planning to implement in the hotel as such, right?
Yes.
And
yes, everything new. It's a new normal now.
It's new normal. Very well said. Like, it's new normal. It's not that old way of handling everything. The 6 feet distance, and I mean, I see in even United States.
Yeah, you need to have
mask. Yeah. Mask, 50% of occupancy. I see in the United States they already start taking those norms, new norms into practice now. In everywhere, especially when it comes to hospitality industry. Rohit, it's interesting, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. The kind of preparation is really great. And in fact, like related to that, when we say about all those 14 hotels in all the locations, what exactly the USP? The clients want to know what is the USP of the hotel when they are visiting to these hotels. If you can brief.
So as we have managed to cover, we have about 14 hotels in 8 key destinations in Kerala. So we have properties in the hill stations of Munnar, near the wildlife sanctuary in Thekadi, the backwaters of Kumarakom. We have 2 beach properties. One is in Marari Beach, another one is in Chovara Kovalam. We've also introduced a service villa concept. Recently, we introduced houseboats. We have a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom premium and luxury houseboats in the backwaters of Alleppey. Our recent launch has been the 2 properties in North Kerala. That was our first venture into North Kerala, with 1 property in Lakkadi, which is called the Brookside Lakkadi, with 30 cottages and all the cottages facing the forest. The other property is a luxury experiential plantation bungalows in a 4,000-acre tea plantation. So that's the other one, which is in Manandawadi area, very close, easily accessible from Mysore and Bangalore. In Cochin, as my uncle mentioned, we have now about 6 hotels starting from 1982. So we have economy hotels, we have business hotel, leisure hotel, bed and breakfast hotel, and we recently launched 2 years back a heritage hotel also. So we took over a 350-year-old building and recently refurbished and converted it into a hotel. It's a it's a prime location in Fort Kochi, just 100 meters from the Chinese fishing nets and the St. Francis Church. So this is one of our biggest USPs now at the moment. The other thing is the personalized service that we offer at each of our hotels and resorts, which makes it special. I think we ensure that our idea of service is communicated to our employees properly, and proper training is provided to them, thus ensuring there's no compromise on quality, great value for money is offered to our client, and excellent customer care. So a combination of all these, and also the locations. So if you look at any of our locations, we are the best of the locations in each of the destinations in Kerala. So Munnar, we are on a cliff. In Thekadi, we are just 1 kilometer from the sanctuary, wildlife sanctuary in the town, but with a green ambience. Bang on the backwaters in Kumarakom. If you're looking at Cochin, we have we are in the heart of Cochin city, MG Road. In Fort Kochi, as I told you, in the main Kochi, old Kochi area. So we are at the prime locations in each of these destinations in Kerala.
Wow. I mean, these are the prime location. I have definitely learned and heard, and your hotels are pretty much everywhere. It's great to hear that, apart from great locations and having the right USP, and then, that would be a main attraction to the client or travelers outside India or inside India, within India. Right.
So next time, make a plan, Sanjay, to come and visit Kerala once this pandemic is over. Huh?
Absolutely. Kerala is the number one in the list. And there are so many things which I learned. I mean, during this talk show, I learned so many things about Kerala. This is a beautiful place. And personally, I had a big tie with Kerala. My previous company, I had a company there in Kochi. So I know a little bit more about Kerala, definitely. Now my next question is to Mr. Riaz. I mean, now you see this COVID-19 coming up. How do you see this, the whole industry changing, and which direction we are going right now in the post-COVID-19 area?
The thing is, Kerala tourism has been a super brand actually, and it has a reputation for responsible tourism. So we were always on the high pedestal. So there are many unique products which we have, which you won't find anywhere else, because it's just not the landscape or the sightseeing, but the products we have. We have the houseboats, we have the Ayurveda, we have the cultural. Then we have wildlife, we have the tea gardens, we have the lakes, we have the beaches. So whatnot. In a short span of 3 hours, you can go from a beach to a hill station, or to a wildlife sanctuary, or to a lake, or enjoy the houseboat, have a Ayurveda treatment, or anything. So these are all unique things which you won't find anywhere else. So Kerala, because Kerala as such, as we have these unique products, we'll always have a USP.
Right.
USP. And I think now people may be a little apprehensive, but I think over a period of time, this will go. As you have been mentioning earlier, USA is already 2 months ahead of us in the pandemic. So you have come out of it. And so Kerala also, people will come out of it. Maybe at the initial stages, it will be the domestic travelers who are coming in, and then the international will follow.
Believe so.
So the problem in the future, then normalcy will return, and tourism will bounce back to the early stages. In the next, maybe I can't predict a time, but then it has to come back.
Right, and like you mentioned, that there's a responsible tourism, and people culturally there's people who are more aware of the things around, and I see that Kerala is doing much better in terms of different things, right?
Responsibility. Exactly. And we keep our premises clean. We don't send out the effluents to the water bodies. We take care of the villages. We buy things from them. So these are things which helps the local population also.
Right. You're so right. And so, Mr. Gibran, question to you. People see you as a successful entrepreneur. Now, as such, how do you feel about Mr. Riaz as an uncle and founder of Abad Hotel as such?
So, my uncle has always been an inspiration for me, as well as a mentor. So I have assisted him in a lot of meetings and events, and that has helped me to understand a lot of our clients as well as our employees. So he's always advised me to be conservative in a business approach. And I joined at a time when our team was already big. So he had always told me to be collaborative with our team members. So I think it's an everyday learning process in this hospitality field, and there's a lot more I think to learn from him.
Absolutely, being on the side and such a great mentor there, right? It definitely helps. And so now next question to you, Mr. Gibran, is about employees. I mean, team building has always been tough. I mean, I personally had experience on this, and having the right team building team is kind of key for everything, right? So how do you motivate your employees as such? And maybe you take some tips from your uncle as well.
Yeah. So we treat all our employees as part of our team. So every job has its own importance, and due respect has to be given to them. We try to make sure and to take care of them as much as we can. We should always see that that a non-prejudice attitude is being shown to them. Be honest, be fair to them, so that will keep them motivated. In this period of crisis, I think we are all working together as a team, and this keeps us all together motivated to move ahead in this period.
Very well said. Very well said. I mean, that's something like treating them as a family, right? That's kind of helps in a way, and being transparent. Amazing. Now, being in the corporate world, I always understood that there's a big room for corporate travelers, right? And maybe for group building exercise and a bunch of other things. How you support them, or how you will support them in the travel? I mean, more in the post-COVID-19 area time.
So we initially started with our business hotels only. So we have a good business clientele. If you ask me, the main requirements for them was a good business center. They need meeting rooms, good Wi-Fi, location. But I think at the moment, the most important thing would be their safety and security. So it is very important for us also to inform them, give them an assurance of the enhanced standard operating procedures which are in place. So as you know, we have been playing host to travelers for almost 4 decades. So we have some set of loyal customers, and we're trying to inform them about the things which are set in place, and our team geared up to receive them.
Wow, great. Wedding is always been interesting for many people outside and inside, and I know many of my friends wants to go through Indian wedding experience, just experience. So tell us more about your wedding, supporting wedding. How do you support wedding as such in your hotel?
So we have weddings happening, weddings, engagements, baptisms. We have official meetings and all that happening in our hotel all the time. We also undertake outdoor catering for our clients. We have had destination weddings also, as I said, in Cochin, Kumaragam and Marari properties also. And take only 50 clients. Still, there are some changes happening. I think our capacity, if you ask me, we have a banquet hall starting from 15 packs to 400 packs, depending on our hotels and resorts. So here also, we recently had, after opening, we had a small event also happened. So we are giving them a bigger banquet hall. All the SOPs like thermal checks. We are taking the details of the guests prior to their arrival. So because it's only 50 guests, so we have to record all their temperatures. The seating arrangements are all spaced out. Even the banquet, the buffet settings are all spaced out. And the business for banquets is also ticking in slowly. Hopefully, I think it will improve in the coming months.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the trend we see in the United States here after 2 months, because India is 2 months behind as such. And right now, I can certainly tell for Texas that people are going out. People are having started the activity, which was like 3 months ago we had no clue what's going on there. So I hope that the same pattern may come there as well. Now, while we are about to wrap up our conversation, Mr. Riaz, the question to you is: now there's a lot of confusion, fear, and in the travel in travelers' mind, right? And overall hospital industry. What's your message to them, as such?
I think it's quite natural for travelers to be very skeptical at the moment.
Right.
But over a period of time, their fears would be allayed. Everybody wants to have a break. People will come out, and they will want to relax as well as to enjoy the scenic beauties, spend time with their families. And with all the standard operating procedures that we have put in for their safety and security, I think people will understand the measures that we have taken, and they will come out, and tourism will come back with a big bang. I think there's nothing to fear about it or anything, but for the time being, we'll have to survive and to revive. That's the message.
Great. And
Nobody,
like,
nobody can help the situation now because it's a natural phenomena that has happened.
Correct. And like you said, I mean, there is there's no control, but of course there is a hope for the future, and based on certain trends from different countries, definitely we can see and we can get inspired. Even it's great thing for tourism as well. Tourists as well. So I think, like you said, some of the tour will start in a couple of months from now.
The thing we have to be careful about is to keep our premises in good shape, so that when it starts, we'll be ready.
Right. And like Mr. Gibran mentioned, there's a lot of SOPs and procedures, and contactless stuff has to be maintained. So this is the time when that can be utilized.
Yeah.
So
even our room food menus are in QR.
Oh, QR. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. Use as much as technology. I mean, see, now we're talking.
Now is the time. Now is the time for technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Time for technology. Yeah, absolutely. So it was a great discussion with you both. We are wrapping our call. Please stay on. I have some follow-up question with you. Thank you very much for joining the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Yeah,
have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please stay on.